Colossal Edward Snowden level breaking news for y'all today. A whistleblower has exposed Elon Musk's DOGE team for allegedly funneling sensitive US data.
A whistleblower has alleged that Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, accessed and exfiltrated sensitive data from the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, potentially compromising confidential information related to union activities and labor complaints. The DOGE team, operating under the guise of reviewing agency data for compliance and efficiency, reportedly disabled monitoring tools and deleted access logs to conceal their activities, actions likened by cybersecurity experts to those of malicious hackers. Labor law experts expressed concern that the leaked data could be misused by companies involved in NLRB cases, including Musk's own SpaceX, and could deter whistleblowers from coming forward. In response to NPR's reporting on the incident, Democratic lawmakers have called for an investigation into DOGE's actions and their implications for the NLRB's independence and the protection of sensitive labor information.
What Elon Musk and DOGE are doing is considered a data breach. If you look at the definition of a data breach, that's exactly what it is. Elon Musk and DOGE have gained access to the Department of Treasury's payment system. That means they have access to all of our information, all of our very vital personal information, and they have access to our federal tax returns, Social Security payments, disability payments, Medicare payments, and Medicare assistant information. And mind you, the Deputy Secretary of the Department of Treasury just resigned. He resigned essentially because of this reason and this reason alone. And his reason for resigning, the entire reason, is because he knew that this was overstepping his boundaries. And now DOGE and Elon Musk are acting like the Department of Treasury's Secretary of Defense at this point. Now, Elon Musk and DOGE claim, now mind you, they're not a government entity by any means. They claim that the reason why they've gained access to this information, all of the information through the Department of Treasury, the payment system in its entirety, is because they want to assess the wasteful spending that's being approved in the Department of Treasury, because they were told essentially or allegedly that the Department of Treasury was given the okay to approve payments that would have otherwise been either flagged for potential, fraud, or to give permission to approve payments that were going to illegal entities or immigrants, and you get the point. But either way, this is not okay. He literally has the ability to put a stop on federal income taxes going out. He has the ability to put a stop on disability payments, Social Security payments, and Medicare. If he sees that there needs to be further investigation on these payments to whatever reason he claims, it could be along the lines of, hey, there's too much money going out. We need to assess all of this. And he can put a stop to do an investigation on any of our money that's going out. So if you haven't filed your taxes yet, I suggest you do that shit like ASAP. Like not today, but like right now. And in the end of this is a data breach. We should be able to sue for this. We should be able to take this to the highest level of legality. I don't even know. Like, we should be able to take we didn't give consent for this information to go to someone who is not a government entity. He's not an authorized individual. He has no credentials to access our information that we've entrusted to the Department of Treasury. Like, what the hell's going on?
I am not kidding or exaggerating when I say that we are in deep trouble as a nation. I have called this out since we found out Elon would be running DOGE without being vetted by Congress or obtaining a top secret clearance to that caliber to have access to our most classified information of the land. The DOGE hacker group that works alongside of Elon Musk has been trying to find ways to infiltrate our most classified sensitive government servers for a long time now, and no one in Congress has made it clear as to what exactly they are looking for. They have had access to our Social Security servers, voter registration servers, our power grid, and our nuclear arsenal. We all know they aren't looking for waste, fraud, and abuse, because if that were the case, there would have been congressional hearings in Congress as we speak. Now we have a whistleblower who works for the NLRB who has come forward in detail as to what they have witnessed DOGE doing. This whistleblower said that DOGE is attacking our government from within. They get into our servers, obfuscate, steal our data, disable security features, then get out, which is why the Trump administration said Elon would be leaving his role by the end of May. As soon as this information was leaked, IPS from Russia with usernames and passwords that have been used by the DOGE team tried to get into the systems. If you thought this was bad, listen to this. After this whistleblower raised concerns to the head of the NLRB about DOGE's security breaches, they were met with a note that was taped to his door that had his personal information as well as overhead images taken from a drone of him walking his dog. These are serious allegations coming from the whistleblower and the head of the NLRB. And if this is true, that means that the whole DOGE operation team is working for Russia.
The Elon Musk-led group known as DOGE is facing another legal challenge for its accessing of Americans' private data stored in government IT systems. A federal judge in D.C. ruled Wednesday that a lawsuit can move forward that challenges DOGE representatives' work in Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Department of Labor, and Department of Health and Human Services systems. The judge ruled favorably on the labor and economic group's claims that DOGE's access to those systems may have constituted a final agency action, potentially violating the Administrative Procedure Act. The ruling is the latest in a long line of challenges against DOGE over what many plaintiffs say is the unlawful accessing of Americans' personally identifiable information, including their names, social security numbers, and scores of other sensitive data.
A federal judge in Maryland just ruled that Elon Musk's team illegally accessed your Social Security files. The Social Security Administration gave Musk's crew access to one of the most sensitive databases in the entire government and without your consent. We're talking Social Security numbers, mental and medical health records, bank accounts, tax returns, and even immigration data, everything. And this wasn't just limited access, they had full entry into the system. A former top Social Security Administration official testified that Musk's team had no proper training, no vetting, and no legal justification for getting in. Even worse, they were reportedly using that data off-site in spaces that weren't secure and potentially sharing it with others. The same team claimed that they couldn't reveal their own names for privacy reasons, was digging into your privacy life. The court called it unfettered access and said that this whole thing violates federal privacy laws. The judge issued an emergency order. Musk's team is now blocked from accessing or using any of that data. This isn't about politics. This is about the federal government letting private actors, without oversight, root around in the most sensitive data that Americans have. This is one of the most important privacy rulings in years, and it's just getting started.
The first lie every tyrant tells is that they're here to make things more efficient. That's how it always starts. Not with tanks in the streets, but with software, with optimization, with streamlining. And on January 20th, 2025, that lie was etched into executive authority under Executive Order 14158, the creation of the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. At face value, it sounds benign. Who doesn't want government to run better? But when you pull back the curtain, you realize this isn't about efficiency. This is a hostile restructuring of the American state. Let's look at the facts. The DOGE order didn't just consolidate oversight. It handed the keys of the republic to Elon Musk. Not as a consultant, not as a contractor, but as something far more dangerous. A vendor and an insider at the same time. Under 14158, Musk and his affiliated companies, Starlink, X, Tesla, Neuralink, and whatever subsidiaries are buried under shell companies, were placed at the helm of auditing and optimizing critical federal systems. But instead of hiring nonpartisan auditors or transparency watchdogs, DOGE brought in a cadre of 18 to 25-year-old coders, many of them drawn from the Silicon Valley tech pipeline and dark corners of the online hacking world. Why is that a problem? Because these aren't civil servants. They weren't trained in ethics, constitutional law, or public accountability. They were given root access to federal servers, including the IRS, USAID, the Treasury, and even cloud infrastructure holding state-level election systems. Think about what that means. Unvetted private actors, loyal not to the Constitution, but to Elon Musk's vision, were given administrative access to the inner workings of government. And what did they do with that access? They scraped everything. Full databases, internal documentation, mission-critical metadata. They mirrored federal infrastructure to private servers, many of them linked to companies under Musk's control. This isn't speculation. This is documented behavior. And that brings us to the most important principle in this entire story. Possehood. The purpose of a system is what it does. Not what it claims, not what it advertises, what it does. So, what does DOGE do? It doesn't improve efficiency. It doesn't increase transparency. It consolidates control. It reroutes oversight from public institutions to private platforms. It canonizes a techno-monarch into the core of the republic. That's not reform. That's capture. And it's not just about Elon. He's the prototype, the sacrificial lamb, the beta test for Monarchy 2.0. DOGE is the live trial run of the future system, one where charismatic billionaires stand in for kings and software developers replace elected officials. You don't need a throne when you've got root access. You don't need a crown when you control the update schedule. This is exactly what neo-reactionary theorists like Curtis Yarvin have been advocating for over a decade. A post-democratic system where governance is managed by a CEO king. No elections, no representation, just a shareholder model where the state becomes a product and the citizens are data points. DOGE is that vision in production, and we're not talking theory anymore. We're talking real-world access to federal records. We're talking real-time visibility into elections, IRS audits, economic forecasts, and military logistics. The danger isn't just the abuse of that power. The danger is that no one, not Congress, not the courts, not the states, can see clearly into what's happening. Because DOGE wasn't built to be seen. It was built to be unaccountable, to operate behind the shield of efficiency while it rewrites the foundation of American governance in real time. So let's be clear. This is not about innovation. This is not about making government better. This is about making government obsolete, replacing democracy with code, replacing institutions with platforms, replacing the public will with private data. And unless we wake up now, unless we rip the mask off DOGE and expose it for what it is, this won't be a passing phase. It'll be the template for every system that comes next. We must remember, liberty does not mean trusting the powerful to govern efficiently. Liberty means governing ourselves transparently, accountably, and together. That's the Enlightenment. That's the firewall. And that's what DOGE was built to destroy. Let's make sure it fails.